January 28th. It's a new day, everyone. It's a new week. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo.
Good morning, I'm Andre Felix, and the three of us, as always, will keep you company for the next hour and a half.
Hello and welcome. I'm Christine Jacobson-Diaz. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. I know you were busy yesterday.
Yep, it was a great weekend. It was a very productive and busy weekend. Of course, as we all know, CNN Philippines had a special presentation. Our second senatorial forum yesterday at the Ateneo de Manila University. 7 senatorial candidates were there. Interesting. A lot of fireworks happening there, and a lot of answers that we want to hear, that we want to know. Answers that matter most to us, of course, to every Filipino.
They're able to clarify a lot of things and give great insights to a lot of millennials that would be voting coming May 13. Also, Sunday was quite busy.
Yeah, Sunday was a very busy day as well. Unfortunately, of course, aside from the senatorial forum where you were, there was a blast in Jolo, Sulu.
Yes.
We are going to break that down for you. Of course, this happened in a church Sunday morning. It was actually 2 blasts, one in the church and one, I believe, in the car park. And we have 18 confirmed dead and dozens more injured. So this is really... it comes in the wake of the plebiscite, which is supposed to bring about peace. But certainly, the people of Mindanao are not deterred by this at all, and they will continue to fight for peace.
Yeah,
in spite of all of this.
It's quite sad. And Sunday being a very busy church day, and a lot of people are actually flocking to church.
Here are the morning's headlines.
President Rodrigo Duterte is expected to visit Jolo today following 2 explosions in a church that killed at least 18 people. 7 senatorial candidates weigh in on the country's pressing issues on CNN Philippines' second senatorial forum.
A Sunday morning mass in Jolo, Sulu, supposedly heard in peace, turns into a scene of chaos following not 1 but 2 deadly blasts. The Western Mindanao Command says 18 people were killed, lowering the count of 20 earlier reported by the regional police. The twin explosions took place at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Mount Carmel during service at around 8:28 a.m. An improvised explosive device went off inside the church while another detonated in the cathedral's parking lot. Among those who died, 12 civilians as well as 6 soldiers who were tasked to secure Jolo town proper. West Mincom says that initial findings based on CCTV footage show that the Ajang could be behind the blast. The Ajang is an Abu Sayyaf group operating in the urban areas like Jolo. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says he's ordered troops to secure all public places and places of worship. President Rodrigo Duterte is visiting Jolo today. Malacanang already condemned the attack, saying the culprits will be severely punished. The explosions come a mere 2 days after the Commission of Elections announced the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law on Friday. The law is seen to help resolve conflict and rebellion in the south, although Sulu did vote against the measure. Pope Francis himself condemns the deadly attack at a church in Jolo, Sulu. In a tweet, the Pope called for prayers for the victims of the attack, saying, "May the Lord, Prince of Peace, convert the hearts of the violent and grant the inhabitants of that region a peaceful coexistence." Here at home, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines expressed its condolences to the families of the victims and condemned the attacks. In a statement, the CBCP also urged Catholics to join Muslims in promoting peace in Mindanao. The United Kingdom has already warned its residents against traveling to Mindanao because of terrorist activity. We are trying to get Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and other key officials from the West Mincom for more details. It's exactly 6:30. Good morning and welcome back. I'm Ria Tanwat Cotrillo. Our top story, a Sunday morning mass in Jolo, Sulu, supposedly heard in peace, turns into a scene of chaos following not 1 but 2 deadly blasts. The Western Mindanao Command says 18 people were killed, lowering the count of 20 earlier reported by the regional police. The twin explosions took place at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Mount Carmel during a service at around 8:28 a.m. An improvised explosive device went off inside inside the church, while another detonated in the cathedral's parking lot. Among those who died, 12 civilians, as well as 6 soldiers who were tasked to secure Jolo town proper. Westmincom says that initial findings based on CCTV footage show that the Ajang-Ajang could be behind the blast. The Ajang-Ajang is an Abu Sayyaf group operating in urban areas like Jolo. Now, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says he's ordered troops to secure all public places and places of worship. President Rodrigo Duterte is visiting Jolo today. Malacanang already condemned the attack, saying the culprits will be severely punished. The explosions come a mere 2 days after the Commission of Elections announced the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law on Friday. The law is seen to help resolve conflict and rebellion in the South, though Sulu did vote against the measure. Officials from both national and local governments condemn the attack in Jolo. The Armed Forces of the Philippines says they are now ensuring that the wounded are given medical attention and the next of kin of those who were killed are informed and assisted. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana calls on the public to be vigilant and to cooperate with authorities in reporting security-related concerns. He also urges everyone to remain calm and avoid spreading panic in the communities. Presidential spokesperson and Chief Presidential Legal Counsel Salvador Panelo says the government will make sure every killer is brought to justice and put behind bars. Vice President Leni Robredo also sent her condolences to the victims. She hopes the Bangsamoro plebiscite will serve as an important step to finally attain peace in Mindanao. Meantime, Sulu Governor Abdu-Sakur Tan appeals to the people of his province to stay calm and vigilant and to cooperate with law enforcers. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año says there's a possible connection between the twin blasts in Jolo and the recent ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law, or BOL. Año notes that the majority of voters in Sulu oppose the BOL, which paves the way for the creation of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM. Sulu will be part of BARM even if it voted against the BOL because the present ARMM voted as one geographical area. Año notes that while it is too early to tell who could be behind the bombings in Jolo, its timing is suspect. The police and military are already investigating the incident.
Now that we are actually consolidating now the gains or the result of the election, well, eto, merong bombing dito. So more or less, pag tingnan natin, baka lang, no? Baka may connection ito sa. Remember that in Sulu, lumamang ng konti yung no votes doon. It's one way of saying na some people are not really inclined to support the BOL.
We are trying to reach Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana and other key officials for more details. We're also trying to get people who witnessed the blast. A Sunday morning mass in Jolo, Sulu, supposedly heard in peace, turns into a scene of chaos following not one but 2 deadly blasts. The Western Mindanao Command says 18 people were killed, lowering the count of 20 earlier reported by the regional police. Let's get more details now from our senior correspondent David Santos, and he reports to us live from Zamboanga. David, good morning.
Well, good morning, Ria. Authorities in Jolo are expected to continue their post-blast investigation at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral following Sunday's explosions that killed at least 18 people and injured scores others. Now, ranking government officials are flying to Jolo today, this morning, to assess the situation in the area. We know that Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana, as we speak, is in transit from Manila to Jolo. He is being accompanied by AFP Chief Benjamin Galvez, as well as other ranking military officials. Earlier, we caught up with the Sulu Governor Abdu-Sakur Toto Tan II. He took a chartered flight from Zamboanga City to Jolo to check also the situation in his province. Apparently, he was in Manila when the bombings at the Jolo Cathedral happened. He tells us that even before Sunday's blast, there has been persistent reports of bombing threats in Jolo. Here's a part of that interview.
Months na, matagal nang may threat ng bombing dito sa cathedral, when in fact yung unang suspect, nakalimutan ko lang yung pangalan, napatay ng armed forces sa encounter, sa kanilang operation. And then after that, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pagbabantay nila dito sa Cathedral. Hindi natin malaman talagang napakagaling nitong mga bandido na ito o kung sino man yung gumawa ng pambobomba na ito. Talagang napakagaling at kung paano nakalusot pa rin.
Well, a number of the dead and wounded have been transported here in Zamboanga City as of Sunday night. According to the AFP Western Mindanao Command, about 18 people, mostly civilians, were airlifted from Jolo on Sunday. We can only assume that most of these victims are in critical condition and would require more extensive medical attention. As we know, medical facilities in Jolo are very limited. Those transported are currently being treated in different hospitals here in Zamboanga City. Also, 8 cadavers, according to the West Mincom, have also been brought here in the city. 5 of these cadavers are army soldiers and 3 are civilians. We are here outside the Fourth Pillar Shrine, a popular religious tourist destination here in Zamboanga City. And as expected, we can see the police and the military beefing up their presence in areas like the Fourth Pillar Shrine and as well as in other churches and vital installations all over in this region in response to the deadly bombings in Jolo. Ria.
Now, David, you mentioned a lot of the victims are being brought to Zamboanga, where you are. How long would it take to transport an injured person from Jolo to Zamboanga?
Well, it depends on the available assets, Ria. Mostly those flying in and out of Jolo are government assets, specifically from the armed forces. We do know that the Air Force, the Philippine Air Force, have on standby military choppers. These are the UE choppers as well as fixed wings air assets that can transport anyone at any time from Jolo to Zamboanga City. For a fixed wing, it takes about an hour or so flight from Jolo to Zamboanga City. But if it's a chopper, a military chopper, it will probably take more than that. More than an hour or I guess a couple of hours. But there are also on standby Philippine Navy assets. These are boats and ships that can also transport many of the wounded that will require transport from Jolo to Zamboanga City. We've seen that in the past happen. Many of our wounded soldiers, from those who were wounded or injured in firefights or in clashes with the Abu Sayyaf and other armed groups in Sulu, being transported by air or by sea from Jolo to Zamboanga City, where there are enough medical facilities, where there are enough hospitals that can attend to their needs. Ria.
All right, thank you very much, David Santos there reporting from Zamboanga. And now we talk to AFP West Mincom spokesperson Colonel Jerry Besana. Good morning, Colonel. Thank you for taking our call.
Hello, good morning, ma'am, and good morning to all.
Okay, sir, we are reporting about 18 dead from the blasts yesterday. Has this number changed at all?
Yes, ma'am. Actually, we're sad to inform you that right now the total count rose to 20 from 18 yesterday. Actually, the number of injured also rose from we were reporting 65 yesterday. Now the total count is 97, although most of them already went back to their respective house. And at the same time, the number of injured that we are monitoring is only 51. That those who are now they are now confined in various hospitals here in Sulu, and the ones we were able to evacuate yesterday until last night in Zamboanga City. So that is now 51 wounded that we are monitoring and 20 killed as of this moment.
Okay, so that number of 18 is now at 20, unfortunately, and you said you are monitoring 51 injured. Sir, how would you describe the most serious injuries of those you are monitoring?
I don't have the word right now to describe how the incident or what the incident has happened. For those who died yesterday, we do some, and most of their bodies were shattered. But for those who are critically injured right now and brought to the hospital, they're actually monitoring them closely. And General Villavega's instruction was to provide them the necessary assistance that we can provide so that the number of casualties will not grow or we will not have more casualties. So the proper medication is now being provided by the competent hospitals and doctors that we have here in Zamboanga City.
Sir, regarding the investigation, who are you looking at as suspects? Abu Sayyaf ba pa to or may iba tayong mga grupo na tinitingnan to be behind the attack?
Well, we do not want to be impartial in the conduct of investigation, but of course, based on the CCTV footage that we are currently using right now, the Joint Task Group was able to get footage, and they were able to identify some that were related or probably linked to the Abu Sayyaf group. So that will form part of the investigation. But of course, we have to wait for the formal report to be submitted by the Joint AFP and PNP EOD for us to be able to get the bomb signature that will really define or identify the one who perpetrated or who made the bomb and probably participated in twin bombing yesterday.
What is your reaction to some reports saying that ISIS is claiming responsibility for the attack? Is there any evidence to support this at this point?
At this point, what we are sure is that the terrorist groups are behind it, but as to the participation of ISIS-linked terrorist group, we cannot, we cannot discount. But of course, they will always do that. They will always take responsibility for this kind of terrorist act. But for now, we are looking at the local terrorist groups that perpetrated atrocities here.
Last week, there was a firefight between military forces and members of the Maute group in Lanao del Sur. Do you think yesterday's bombings and the skirmishes last week are somehow connected?
Not necessarily, but they probably have some connection, but they are isolated from this group. The Abu Sayyaf group and the Maute group in Lanao operate separately. So we are looking at or focusing our attention here, the attention on the conduct of investigation on the local Abu Sayyaf group or the local terrorist group here in London.
All right. Thank you very much, AFP Westmincom spokesperson Colonel Jerry Besana.
Right. Well, that's it for us this Monday. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Christine Jacobs-Sandejas.
New Day's back tomorrow, 6 on the dot. I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Ria Tanwatco Trillo. Enjoy your morning. Have a great day.
Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, 2 deadly blasts hit Jolo, Sulu.
What we are sure is that the terrorist groups are behind it.
The Catholic Church condemns the attacks.
Months na, matagal nang may threat ng bombing dito sa Cathedral.
And authorities are now in full force to investigate who's behind the bombings. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. A Sunday morning mass in Jolo, Sulu, supposedly heard in peace, turns tragic following not 1, but 2 deadly blasts. The Western Mindanao Command says 20 people were killed. The twin explosions took place at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. An improvised explosive device went off inside the church, while another detonated in the cathedral's parking lot. Among those who died, civilians and soldiers who were tasked to secure Jolo town proper. Westmincom says that initial findings based on CCTV footage show that the Ajang-Ajang could be behind the blast. The Ajang-Ajang is an Abu Sayyaf group operating in the urban area like Jolo. Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana says he's ordered troops to secure all public places and places of worship. Malacanang already condemned the attack, saying the culprits will be severely punished. The explosions come a mere 2 days after the Commission on Elections announced the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law on Friday. The law is seen to help resolve conflict and rebellion in the South. The military says the bombing in Sulu is not related to the encounter between government forces and the ISIS-linked Maute group. Speaking to CNN Philippines, AFP West MINSCOM spokesman Colonel Jerry Besana said a local terror group is likely behind the attack.
What we are sure is that the terrorist groups are behind this, but as to the participation of ISIS terrorist group, we cannot, we cannot be counted. But of course, they will always do that. They will always take responsibility for this kind of terrorist act. But for now, we are looking at the local terrorist groups that perpetrated atrocities here in Colombia.
Let's go straight to the source of the story. Philippine Institute for Peace, Violence, and Terrorism Research Chairman Romel Banlawi. Professor, good morning. Welcome to the show, sir.
Yeah, good morning, Pinky. Good morning to everybody.
Sir, the military says it's an Abu Sayyaf group called Ajang that was behind the attack in Jolo, Sulu. Who is this group, sir?
Well, this group is composed of fathers and brothers of Abu Sayyaf group members who were killed by the military during law enforcement operations. These are, I call them revenge groups of relatives of Abu Sayyaf group members killed by the military. They are called the soldiers of the martyrs. They have been martyred because of their battle against Christian government in Mindanao, and they have this high motivation to exact revenge for the killing of their relatives. This group is notorious for series of extortion activities in Sulu provinces as well as kidnap or ransom activities. And this is the first time that this group has been identified to be involved in bombing attack of this magnitude.
Mm-hmm. So this is the first time that, in fact, possibly their name has become a little bit more familiar because of the kind of attack, this brazen attack inside the cathedral.
Yes, yes. So this is the first time that the military disclosed this group for this kind of attack, because from our end, we know this group as just kidnap or ransom group and extortion group, and composed of relatives of ASG members killed by the military. But now, the Ajang has been identified to be the main group engaged in bombing activities. So in my view, the members of these groups have been trained to mount terrorist bombings in Mindanao. And because this group is part of Abu Sayyaf group, then I consider also this group as part of the pro-ISIS group. And in fact, the Site Intelligence Agency already published the claim of ISIS that the bombings in Jolo was part of their mission in Mindanao. In fact, a mock news agency already published the official communique of ISIS, claiming responsibility for
Yes, I was going to go there, Chairman.
Even described the attack as a suicide bombing attack.
Yeah, because ISIS, you're right, it is claiming this attack. So you're saying that can you again tell me the connection between the Ajang, which is part of the Abu Sayyaf group, and ISIS?
Yeah, well, Ajang is also being commanded by higher leadership in the Abu Sayyaf group, particularly leaders like Hajan Sawadjaan. Hajan Sawadjaan is a pro-ISIS leader. He is the father-in-law of Amin Batcho, a Malaysian foreign terrorist fighter, involved in the planning of Marawi siege last May 2017. And since Ajang is part of the Abu Sayyaf group, and the Abu Sayyaf group in Sulu is considered to be a pro-ISIS group. So for me, I consider this as also a pro-ISIS incident.
I see.
And even the ISIS itself already claimed responsibility. The way they claim responsibility for the Lamitan city bombing attack last year.
What about the timing? This happened a couple of days after the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law.
Yeah, the timing is also very, very clever because it was done just few days after the plebiscite. That is why the MILF is very upset about it, and even the Philippine government is upset about it. And for me, it tells us that this pro-ISIS group is really very clever because of the plebiscite. There was a strict implementation of heightened alert or security alert in the area. And despite this heightened security alert, this group was able to mount such kind of terrorist bombing. So I think for this time, this group outsmarted again the law enforcement authorities.
Sinadya, Chairman, is that what you're saying? It was intentional?
I think they found
intentional in terms of timing,
an opportunity to mount their intentions, because even prior to the plebiscite, Sulu has been receiving threats coming from this group, and that also prompted other embassies in the Philippines to issue their travel warning to their nationals.
Okay.
Well, they just found an opportunity to mount this attack during this time. So yeah,
Chairman,
and that will inspire other groups to do some more.
Chairman Romel Banlawi, sir, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Pinky. Have a nice day.
Pope Francis condemns the deadly attack at a church in Jolo, Sulu. In a tweet, the Pope called for prayers for the victims of the attack, saying, "May the Lord, Prince of Peace, convert the hearts of the violent and grant the inhabitants of that region a peaceful coexistence." Here at home, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines expressed its condolences to the families of the victims and condemned the attacks. In a statement, the CBCP also urged Catholics to join Muslims in promoting peace in Mindanao. The United Kingdom has already warned its residents against traveling to Mindanao because of terrorist activities. Thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Karen Gelman for winning the Miss Intercontinental. I'm ready for your questions, ladies and gentlemen.
MPC,
Yes. Pia.
Sir, ano yung reaction ni President Duterte dun sa pagsabog sa Jolo Sulu, and ano po yung mga directives niya?
Well, of course he was so angry, for one. For another, he is so disappointed that despite the movement to tread the path towards peace and development, there are still certain forces in that region who will sow terror and kill and murder people. He has issued directive to the Armed Forces of the Philippines to secure the safety of the citizenry and to attend to the injured and to provide succor to the families of the victims. He will be going there, I understand, 2 p.m. today. Noon to 2 p.m. Between noon and 2 p.m.
So aside from inspecting the blast site, ano po ang planong gawin ni President Duterte doon?
Well, he has already ordered the AFP to undertake measures so that this incident will not happen again.
May mga initial suspicions po ba si President Duterte? Does he feel that this has anything to do with the BOL?
No, he will wait for the investigation. Of course, one Islamic State is claiming responsibility, but I read it in one of the briefers that one terrorist group is claiming responsibility for that. But we have to wait for the investigation. Who's behind it? And what group or individuals?
Sir, itong pagsabog na to happened during martial law in Mindanao. What does it say about the effectivity of martial law in Mindanao?
Well, they're saying that martial law, despite martial law, there has been bombing, and therefore martial law should be lifted. With more reason, martial law should be in place, because if you can do that under a martial law regime, then the more reason you should maintain it and be more strict in the implementation of security measures in that area.
The palace still thinks that martial law is still effective in Mindanao. sir?
It's effective, but this incident is isolated, by the way. So we'll have to investigate how it happened. There may be some lapses in security, how they were able to put there instead of a motorcycle with a bomb, despite the fact that there were soldiers securing the place.
Ganun din po ba yung tingin ni President Duterte that there were lapses in security?
Well, there is no other conclusion to reach. If you have security there, and there is one or two bombs being placed inside, then there must be a lapse in security. There is no other reasonable conclusion.
Last na lang, sir, yung sa timing din, sir, ng pagbomba. Bukas kasi, sir, oral arguments na ng martial law. Considering the timing, do you think that this has anything to do with it?
Now, as I said, we have to wait for the investigation. We can only speculate, and there have been many speculations. We'd rather not.
Thank you, sir.
Follow-up, Joseph.
So you mentioned that there's no other conclusion but to say that there was a lapse in security. So therefore,
Then you should be more strict in your security measure. Like that motorcycle, if you inspected that motorcycle before it got into that area, then there would have been no bombing.
any accountability on our security forces, sir?
Come again?
Should there be any accountability on our security forces?
We'll have to investigate. Mine is just a reasonable conclusion derived from the circumstances surrounding the bombing.
Sir, additional to the martial law point, no? In December, the president transferred a whole division of soldiers to Jolo, remember?
Yes.
He activated the 11th Infantry Division. Why do we still have this bombing if there are more forces now in Jolo?
You know, just like the President of the United States, with all the security, a president can be assassinated. You cannot certainly stop everything that the enemy will give you. We can only learn from lessons and then introduce more stringent steps to prevent the occurrence of another bombing.
Okay, sir.
Okay, follow-up, Raymond.
Sir, considering that Sulu is a Nur-Miswari country, so you do not believe that that the MNLF or the group of Nur-Miswari is not involved in this attack?
As I said, we cannot enter into the realm of speculation. It would be unfair and not good to be speculating. I know that Nur Miswari wants federalism better than BOL, but he didn't oppose it actively. In fact, he was non-committal with respect to the plebiscite.
Is there any plan for the president to talk with the Nur-Miswari after this incident to clarify things and to move on with the supposed plan of the president to negotiate with his group?
He has said so himself. Remember, he wanted to talk with the chairman of the MNLF.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, may follow-up. Other issue. Alvin.
Sir, nabanggit po ba ni Presidente kung ikino-consider niyang maglabas ng reward money for the immediate solution ng kaso?
I didn't hear about that. I'll check with him.
Thank you, sir.
Questions, MPC? Other issue? Other issue. Raymond. Ace. Joseph.
Ina, you're so quiet the last two briefings. Apart from morning. Ace,
Ace.
you're in red.
Secretary, we got documents showing that the President reappointed Yusek Maglunsod.
Who's he?
Joel Maglunsod.
Who's he ba?
Former Labor Undersecretary that the President fired.
He has reappointed to where? The same post?
Some unit under the DOLE, the Executive Director 3, National Maritime Polytechnic. DOLE pa rin naman, pero ibang unit. Tapos Executive Director na hindi na Yusek.
Is that document?
Joel Bukad Maglunsod. Document from...
Is that
from your,
document spurious?
galing sa inyo eh. Galing sa inyo eh.
Sa amin? Which sa amin? In my office or OP?
Yes.
OP?
Binigay sa inyo. Oo.
OP?
Should we start doubting those documents now?
Galing po sa inyo.
Now we'll check. We'll check why... Because the next question is why they...
Yes, definitely.
Then I'll check with the President.
Kasi 'di ba, parang recently inaway din niya 'to eh. Parang binanatan niya sa speech niya dati 'to, 'di ba?
Sige, I'll check with him.
Okay, thank you, Sec.
Okay, may follow-up ba? Or Joseph and then Joyce? Okay.
Sir, si former BOC Chief Isidro La Peña was charged by NBI sa DOJ ng graft and admin charges. Is he still enjoying the trust and confidence of the President?
Yes. He remains constitutionally presumed to be innocent.
Why is the President trusting too much kay La Peña despite findings ng mismong agencies ng government na he could be liable probably for graft?
Because he knows him personally, he has worked with him, and he trusts him.
So with that, sir, is the President confident that these charges will be dropped?
It's for the courts to decide whether the charges are substantiated by proof beyond a reasonable doubt.
But are you confident, sir, that eventually he will be absolved of these charges, given that the President...
As far as the President is concerned, he trusts him. But if the evidence proves otherwise, then it would be a different story.
So wala naman, sir, any plans si President to remove him from his current post? He still believes that he is still competent to hold
None
a
that
position.
I know of.
Okay. May follow-up or Joseph na?
So you were able to talk to the president, no, about the Holo bombing?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Hopefully today.
Okay. But you said that the president was angry.
Oh yeah, because somebody told me. Somebody told me
Naman,
he talked
sir.
to him, and you don't even have to ask why he's angry. Everybody is angry now for that bombing.
Maybe a stronger term than angry, maybe ballistic.
What do you want?
But you didn't talk to him.
He's outraged.
Not yet outraged. Sige, sir.
You are seeing live pictures from Malacanang. A media briefing is currently being conducted by presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo. He began with thanking the nation who have condoled with the country on the loss of lives brought about by the twin blast on a church yesterday in Jolo, Sulu. He specifically thanked the Pope for his expression of sympathies and support. He says President Duterte was angered by the twin blast and that he ordered the AFP to lend assistance to the family of the victims and to conduct thorough investigation. The president, he said, will head to Sulu between 12 noon and 2 p.m. today. Secretary Panelo also said this is an isolated incident. Investigation is needed on how the bomb was planted despite the presence of security personnel in the area. When pressed by the media, Secretary Panelo said Malacanang does not wish to speculate at this point on whether the MNLF has a hand on the attack, but he did say that the president expressed his desire to meet and to speak with the MNLF leader soon. This media briefing will continue on our Facebook page, the Facebook page of CNN Philippines. Meantime, Balitaan is up next. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines. This is Cherry Mercado. Good morning.
Narito na ang balitaan sa CNN Philippines. PNP isinailalim sa nationwide heightened alert buong Jolo, Sulu, naka-lockdown matapos ang mga pagsabog doon. Magandang tanghali, ako po si Pinky Webb. Naka-lockdown na ang buong bayan ng Jolo sa Sulu matapos ang dalawang pagsabog sa isang simbahan kahapon. 20 ang naitalang patay at 112 ang sugatan bunsod ng pagsabog. Pasado alas 8 ng umaga nang sumabog ang unang bomba sa loob ng Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral. At ilang segundo lang matapos nito, naganap ang ikalawang pagsabog sa labas ng naturang simbahan. Bukod sa mga sibilyan, ilan sa mga namatay ay mga sundalo na inatasang magbantay tuwing may misa doon.
Sir, ano po yung measures na ginagawa natin na may pagsabog na ganito, sir? Ano ho ba ang orders natin?
Unang-una, nagbigay ang order ng national headquarters ng lockdown. No? The SND also ordered a total lockdown dito sa Jolo, Sulu. Kaya makita natin na halos walang mga tao rito at sarado yung mga tindahan. And pag nag-normalize, then probably doon tayo mag-lower ng ating alert status dito.
Sir, ano ho ibig sabihin ng lockdown? Meron din ho bang restriction yung movement ng mga tao, sir?
Well, usually kapag ganyan, makita natin halos walang mga tao na nasa labas, no? Para makontain talaga itong lugar na ito.
Augmentation, sir. May dadagdag tayong tropa dito. Datayo ng mga roadblocks, checkpoints, sir?
Meron tayong mga roadblocks, meron tayong mga checkpoints. At yung tropa naman natin dito, kahit na yung AFP tsaka PNP, I think sapat naman yung mga numbers nila dito. We have enough troops dito. We have 2 battalions of the Special Action Force also here.
Possibility, sir, ng mga bombings pa na susunod, sir?
Hindi natin pwedeng i-take for granted yun dahil marami na ngang insidente dito. Kaya nga medyo mahigpit yung security na pinapatupad natin. And I think kailangan pa rin natin paigtingin yung ating intelligence monitoring at of course yung participation ng ating community.
At inaasahang tutungo si Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa Jolo ngayong araw kung saan nauna na ang ilan sa mga matataas na opisyal ng gobyerno. Samantala, dinala na sa Zamboanga City ang ilang labi na mga nasawi, gayon din ang ilang mga sugatan sa pagsabog sa Jolo. Makibalita tayo sa aming senior correspondent na si David Santos. David?
Pinky, anumang oras na ngayon, inaasahan na ang pagbisita ni Pangulong Duterte sa Sulu para personal na alamin ang mga kaganapan doon matapos ang pambobomba sa Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral sa Jolo kahapon. Lumipad kanina mula Maynila sina Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana at Armed Forces Chief Benjamin Madrigal patungong Jolo para sabayan ang Pangulo sa kanyang pagbisita sa Jolo. I-brief ang Pangulo ng AFP at PNP kaugnay sa pinakahuling update sa investigasyon sa insidente, gayon din ang maaaring pagkakakilala at maging ang pagtugis sa mga maaaring nasa likod ng pambobomba. Kanina, naabutan natin si Sulu Governor Abdushakur Toto Tan II dito sa Zamboanga City bago ito lumipad patungong Jolo. Nasa Maynila Sitan nang mangyari ang pagsabog, ikinagulat din niya ang walang takot na pag-atake sa Jolo Cathedral at ang lakas ng pampasabog na ginamit ng mga suspect. Pero aminado si Tan, ilang buwan na raw ang nakakalipas mula ng mabalitaan niya na may matinding banta sa seguridad ang Jolo.
Months na, matagal nang may threat ng bombing dito sa Cathedral. When in fact, yung unang suspect, nakalimutan ko lang yung pangalan, napatay ng armed forces sa encounter, sa kanilang operation. And then after that, tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung pagbabantay nila dito sa Cathedral. Hindi natin malaman, talagang napakagaling nitong mga bandido na ito o kung sino man yung gumawa ng pambobomba na ito. Talagang napakagaling at kung paano nakalusot pa rin.
Samantala, Pinky, ilan sa mga namatay at sugatan bunsod ng pambobomba sa Jolo ay nailipat na dito sa Zamboanga City. Ayon sa AFP Western Mindanao Command, 18 sa mga sugatan, karamihan ay mga sibilyan, ay nailipad na mula sa Jolo dito sa Zamboanga City as of Sunday kagabi o Sunday night. Kasalukuyan ng nagpapagamot ang mga ito sa iba't ibang mga ospital dito sa Zamboanga City. 8 naman sa mga labi ng mga namatay ay dinala na rin dito. 5 dito sa kanila ay mga miyembro ng Philippine Army, 3 ay mga sibilyan. Gaya ng inaasahan, Pinky, pinaigtingnan ng mga otoridad ang seguridad sa mga vital installations dito sa Zamboanga City maging sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Mindanao. Kapansin-pansin na dinagdagan na rin ang mga bantay sa mga simbahan at ibang mga matataong lugar. Pinky.
Alam mo, David, kinukwento namin kanina nga na bakit ang casualties ay a combination of yung mga civilians at mga militar. Gaya nga ng sinabi mo, David, yung ilan kasi sa mga military personnel, yung mga sundalo natin, nakabantay pala talaga tuwing may misa doon sa Jolo Sulu.
Gaya ng nabanggit Pinky ni Governor Sakurtan sa ating panayam kanina, sinabi niya na ilang araw nang naka-alerto ang Sulu, maging before pa raw yung plebisito, yung isinagawang plebisito doon. Kasi nga raw, may natatanggap na talagang banta ang Jolo na mga maaaring mga terror attack. At dahil nga dyan, nag-impose ng mga security measures ang AFP, maging ang PNP, nakabantay dyan, nakatutok dyan yung special unit ng AFP, ang 35th Infantry Battalion, kung saan nga karamihan nanggaling yung mga sugatan at namatay. Nakabantay dyan sila sa simbahan. Pero ang malaking tanong pa rin ngayon, Pinky, ay kung paano pa rin nakalusot yung pampasabog sa kabila sa kanilang matinding pagbabantay, Pinky.
Ang sabi ni Governor Tan, magaling. Ang sabi ni Professor Banlawi kanina sa amin, clever nga daw dahil nga doon sa sinasabi mo, David, na nalusutan at napakaraming namatay dyan sa twin explosions sa Jolo Sulu. Go ahead, David.
Isa sa mga rin tinitingnan talagang anggulo ng mga otoridad, Pinky, ay maaaring matagal-tagal na rin binantayan. Minanmanan ng mga suspects na ito ang galaw ng ating mga otoridad. Gayon din yung mga ating mga parishioners dyan. At kung kaya sinabayan nila, maaaring nakisakay sila sa nagiging daily routine at doon ay may to sleep yung mga pampasabog na ginamit noong linggo, Pinky.
Maraming salamat sa iyo. David Santos, nag-uulat. Posibleng may kinalaman ang pagratipika sa Bangsamoro Organic Law sa magkasunod na pagsabog sa Jolo. Yan ay ayon kay Interior Secretary Eduardo Año. Paliwanag ng kalihim, karamihan sa mga taga-Sulu bumoto kontra sa BOL. Layo ng naturang batas na bumuo ng isang Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, kabilang dito ang Sulu, kahit na no vote ang nanalo sa probinsya.
Now that we are actually consolidating now the gains or the result of the election, well, eto, merong bombing dito. So more or less, pag tingnan natin, baka may connection ito sa. Remember that in Sulu, lumamang ng konti yung no votes doon. It's one way of saying na some people are not really inclined to support the BOL.
Samantala, inatasan na ni Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara ang National Bureau of Investigation at tumulong sa investigasyon. Nag-deploy na rin daw ng karagdagang law enforcement units para tumulong sa pagtugis sa mga salarin. Nagpahayag ng pakikiramay ang Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines sa pamilya ng mga nasawi sa pambobomba sa Sulu. Sa isang pahayag na nawagan ng CBCP sa mga Kristiyano at Muslim na magkaisa para sa kapayapaan sa Mindanao. Kinundina naman ni Pope Francis ang pambobomba sa isang tweet na nawagan ng Santo Papa ng panalangin para sa mga biktima. Dagdag pa niya, quote, "May the Lord, Prince of Peace, convert the hearts of the violent and grant the inhabitants of that region a peaceful coexistence. Samantala, naglabas ng babala ang United Kingdom sa mga mamamayan nito hinggil sa pagbiyahe sa Mindanao dahil sa sinasabing terrorist activity doon kasunod ng pagsabog. Nagbabalik ang balitaan dito sa CNN Philippines. Nasa nationwide heightened alert ngayon ng Philippine National Police matapos ang pagsabog kahapon sa Jolo, Sulu. Sa ilalim ng heightened alert, inaasahan ang mas mahigpit na seguridad, partikular sa mga checkpoints. Makibalita tayo sa aming correspondent na si George Cahiles mula sa Camp Crame. George, ano ba ibig sabihin ito?
O Pinky, kailangan nga daw yung heightened alert status para masiguro na hindi maulit sa ibang bahagi ng bansa itong insidente dyan sa Jolo, Sulu. Ibig sabihin kasi ng heightened alert, kalahati noong mga puwersa ng mga pulis ang naka-standby, naka-alerto round the clock para siguruhin yung seguridad sa kanilang mga lugar. Dagdag pa dyan yung paglalagay nga ng mga checkpoints para masiguro nga na hindi malusutan ng kung anumang mga elemento na may balak manakot at maghasik ng lagim sa iba't ibang bahagi ng bansa. Pero binigyan din ng PNP na may kapangyarihan din yung mga regional directors nila na itaas pa yung alert status kung kinakailangan. Halimbawa nga dyan sa ARMM kung saan nangyari ang pagsabog at dito rin sa Metro Manila. Pero paglilinaw kanina ni Metro Manila Police Chief Director Guillermo Eliazar na wala naman daw silang nakikitang possible spillover ng pambobombang yan dito sa Metro Manila. Pero kinailangan nilang ilagay sa full alert status ang Metro Manila simula kaninang umaga para nga daw mabantayang mabuti at hindi naman magkaroon ng sense of security itong mga taga Metro Manila right after nga niyang bombing sa Jolo, Sulu. At wala naman daw dapat ikabahala yung mga residente dito at ginagawa lang daw nila ito para madaling mamobilize ang kanilang mga puwersa at maging handa sa anumang klaseng mga insidente. Pinky.
Maraming salamat sa iyo, George Cahiles, nag-uulat. At kausapin po natin ngayon si National Security Advisor, Hermogenes Esperon. Secretary Esperon, magandang tanghali po sa inyo.
Hello.
Sir, magandang tanghali, si Pinky Webb po ito.
Yeah, good noon, Pinky.
Sir, ano ho ang latest? Meron na ho bang suspect doon sa pagsabog?
Oh, well, we're looking at some persons of interest doon sa CCTV na nakita namin. But nothing is conclusive yet. But their actuations seem to tell us that mukhang may participation sila doon. So yun muna ang tinitingnan namin. And some other people based on intelligence.
Sir, can you tell us more about yung sa nakita po sa CCTV? Bakit ho sila ang posibleng tinitingnan na person of interest? Ano bang nakita?
One was identified as related to one of the commanders. So bine-verify namin kung siya na ngayon. But isang indication kasi noon ay kung mayroong pagsabog, usually yung mga tao is papunta doon sa pagsabog para alam mo na, mag-osisero. Pero itong nakita na grupo ay parang paalis at mukhang suspicious yung kanilang movements. Plus their identity, which we are still establishing. Tinitignan pa namin.
General, ito pong sinasabi yung suspect na related sa isang commander. Sino ba itong commander na to? Meron ho kasing lumalabas na balita, commander.
Well, ang commanders naman dito are known, but because operational ito, wag na muna natin sabihin yung mga pangalan ng mga commanders.
Okay, sir. Understandable.
Operational kasi, so please understand, mayroon tayong leads not only from CCTV, but also hindi lang sa CCTV, kundi mayroon din tayong leads because mayroon ng previous report actually ang intelligence community as early as August last year. At in fact, na-neutralize na yung iba, but this group who might be connected sa mga suspects natin, sa mga suspects natin ngayon, ay mga galamay pa rin ng grupong pinagsususpetsa natin dati na. Yung mga dati na report.
General, Secretary, ang lumalabas ho kasi grupo ng Abu Sayyaf. yung nasa likod ng pambobomba kahapon, sir. Yung pangalan po ng grupo ay Adyang-Adyang. Tama ba?
Oh, well, adyang-adyang means adyang-adyang. Ito yung mga anak ng mga dating Abu Sayyaf.
Yes, sir.
So, talagang probable silang suspect. Or support. Hindi ibig sabihin bagong grupo yan, kundi adyang-adyang simply means na dati nang related either relatives or even parents, mga Abu Sayyaf.
Sir, yung persons of interest ngayon na tinitingnan, ilan ho?
Hello?
General, ilan ho yung persons of interest na tinitingnan?
Dalawang grupo, so far, 6 of them.
6. And sir, ilang tanong lang po, mabilis lang po. Ano ho ba ang nakikitang motibo sa pagsabog?
This is, maraming anggulo kasi itong hulo kasi matagal nang may conflict dito. So, sinosort out natin yan. But definitely, one of the spoilers of the peace process, one of them would be rivalries between groups. And of course, yung Abu Sayyaf, kasi ang Abu Sayyaf na may mga grupo talaga dito, hindi ba? So, iba-iba. Tinitingnan natin ang lahat. At magkakaroon pa ng briefing para sa Pangulo mamaya ng konti.
Opo, on the way. On the way na po si Pangulo, Secretary Esperon, ano?
Yes. Basta darating sa dito ngayon. Kahapon pa siya nagsabi, actually na pupunta rito. Ngunit walang runway lights, kaya hindi pwedeng mag-land. So ngayon siya darating.
Secretary, ang isa ho kasing sinasabi o tinatanong na lang po, ay alam naman natin, martial law is declared in Mindanao. Ang tanong ho ng ilan, paano ho daw nalusutan ang ating kapulisan, ang ating mga sundalo dito sa naging pagsabog kahapon?
Well, ang martial law, baka ang martial law sa isip natin ay katulad ng dati na lahat ay kinakapkapan. Ang tinitingnan natin yung mga aspects na yan ngayon, kung yung entry at saka exit sa hulo proper ay kung paano ini-execute. Alam mo na, mayroon tayong intelligence reports, ganun pa man, hindi natin sinasabing mayroong perfect na security. So, tinitingnan natin kung paano natin paigtingin ngayon ang intelligence and hardening of targets at saka deployments natin dito. Lalong-lalo na yung pag-check ng mga identities ng mga ID system. Tulad ng halimbawa, Davao, for example, pag pumasok ka ng Davao area, ay mahigpit ang checking doon. Mayroon ding sistema dito, but tingnan natin kung saan nagkakaroon ng butas at lalo nating pagagandahin o pahihigpitan.
Meron ho ba itong relation o connection doon sa encounter sa Lanao, sir?
Well, pag nag-ooperate ka, hindi na natin i-connect at posibleng magkaroon ng connection. But kasi ongoing din yung operations natin doon sa Lanao, hindi rin naman tumitigil ang operations dito at saka sa Basilan. So, anong connection ang gusto natin makita? Ito ba ay paghihiganti? Pwede. Kasi yung isang nahuli nung last year ay isang suspect ay pwedeng paghihiganti on a personal basis or pwede ring dahil siya ay membro ng Abu Sayyaf.
Napakalaki po
So hindi natin pwedeng alisin na may connection.
Pero so many casualties, General. Ang dami pong napatay, ang daming nasugatan.
Nakakalungkot nga po sa dami ng mga nasawi, umabot na sa 6 na government forces. Pero mas nakakalungkot kasi 14 nga yung civilian at maraming wounded soldiers and civilians.
That's right, sir. All right, so I know magpapatuloy naman po ang investigasyon. So maraming salamat po sa inyo.
At titingnan namin kung paano mapapabuti po ang sitwasyon dito. At hindi lang dito sa Sulu, kundi buong Mindanao po.
Maraming salamat po sa inyo, National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon. At yan ang kabuuan ng balitaan ngayong Lunes, January 28, 2019. Ako po si Pinky Webb. Hanggang bukas, magandang tanghali.
This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, Jolo and Sulu on lockdown as authorities try to make sense of the twin bombings at the cathedral that left scores dead, wounded, and stricken with grief. Authorities investigating the twin blasts that killed 20 people and injured nearly 100 others in Jolo town in Sulu. The blasts hit a cathedral during a mass Sunday morning. National Police Chief Oscar Abayalde inspected the extent of the damage of the explosions this morning. The blasts ripped through the cathedral, leaving scattered debris, broken glass, and torn ceilings. The officials are pointing at 6 people who could be behind the attack based on recovered CCTV footage. National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon says they suspected the persons in the footage because of their suspicious movements after the bombs were set off. Esperon says they have yet to verify the identities of the persons in question, but he indicated that one of them could possibly be related to a commander whom he did not identify. While authorities are investigating an American organization, Site Intelligence Group reports the global terrorist group ISIS has claimed responsibility for what it calls a dual suicide bombing in Jolo. And today, President Duterte saw for himself the damage left by the twin bombings. These are photographs of that visit that happened moments ago. Our senior correspondent, David Santos, tells us about the president's visit to Jolo. David?
Yes, President Duterte just left Jolo just minutes ago. He was accompanied by his cabinet men, including presidential daughter and Davao City Mayor Sara Duterte. Earlier, they inspected, the president inspected the blast site here at the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral here in the center of Jolo. After that, he was given a security briefing inside the Chodolfo Bautista camp here in Jolo, which houses the main military unit in this island province. He was given a briefing by both officials of the PNP and the AFP. Earlier, we had a chance to speak to PNP Chief Oscar Albayade. We asked him about the outcome of that security briefing, and he was telling us that the president did raise the concern about the need to put a final end to the threat groups, particularly the Abu Sayyaf group that has been sowing terror and terror here in Sulu. The PNP chief also did mention about the ongoing investigation. Particularly, they're looking into the type of explosive that was used in Sunday's blast. Initially, the report that they're getting that this could be similar to the explosive that was used in an explosion that happened in Lamitan about a couple of years ago, about a year ago. They're trying also to, with that as a lead, they're trying to establish the signature and hopefully the identities of those behind it. As we speak to you now, the perimeter, the radius from the cathedral, it is not, as we've been reporting, this municipality, at least the center of this municipality has been placed on a lockdown. Civilians are not allowed to get in. We see a lot of troops from the Philippine Army, the Scout Ranger, as well as members of the PNP as well, having cordoned many parts of the roads leading to the cathedral. So basically, at least in this part of the municipal center, this is more like a ghost town at this moment because there are no people here. This is very different from the everyday Jolo town that we used to know very at this hour. Still people buying food for dinner, and this is just near the market, and many of the establishments are also here. But now, this is just there's just eerie silence as we see the troops guarding the different sections of the road leading to this blast site here at the Mount Carmel Cathedral. Pia.
David, was there any intelligence information that was available before this incident happened? Was there anything, was there any chatter, was there any available intel that could have warned authorities that something like this could happen?
Well, we spoke to, earlier we had the chance to speak to Sulu Governor Abdussakur Tan II, Governor Toto Tan, and he was telling that authorities had earlier reported to him about an ongoing operation by both the military and the police against a specific group. He wasn't able to recall the specific name of that person, but that basically the idea was that this particular group or person or terrorists are planning to sow terror in Sulu for still very unspecific reasons. That's the reason why authorities here have stepped up their security measures. They have also placed several personnel on guard in many in many areas of this road on the many roads in this municipal center. That's why it still baffles them, to be honest, to be blunt about it, on how the perpetrator of Sunday's blast has managed to at least slip through the security cordon and bring in those powerful bombs that killed 20 people and injured scores of others.
Yeah, David, very quickly, can you talk to us a little bit more about the history of this cathedral? This is the first time that an explosion happened inside, is that correct? And can you tell us a little bit more about the stories of the people who were in that cathedral, those who were the victims of these explosions?
Yes, yeah. This is as we know, Sulu and Jolo in particular is Muslim predominantly municipality. The Catholics here have a very small community. Basically, everyone know each other. Those who come here are basically are long-time residents of Sulu who have chosen to stay here despite the threat to security and perhaps despite being a minority in terms of their faith. But again, this cathedral has been, as we've been reporting, has been a target of attacks before. I recall in 2010 we were also here because there was a grenade. So that this particular cathedral, a grenade was lobbed outside of it. But unfortunately, there were no reports of injuries or even deaths at that time. But this is so far the bloodiest because it's the blast, the explosion occurred right inside the church, like almost attacking the floor of your faith. That's how some of parishioners or residents here were describing that Sunday's incident. So you can just imagine how the shock and, of course, how much impact the blast had made, not only for the Catholic community here in Jolo, but even for the Muslim residents of Sulu, because they've always been, they've always said that they have good relations. The Muslims and Christians have good relations here, and it just baffles them why that Sunday blast happened.
Yeah, a very brazen attack right inside the cathedral, as you were pointing out, David. First time this happened, sa loob mismo ng cathedral. At the same time, there are many stories that are coming out about these. Like you said, it's a very small Catholic community there. And there are very many stories coming out about those regular Sunday morning mass churchgoers who never thought that this would happen. The priest, the bishop talking about the stories of these people.
Right. In fact, the Governor Tan paying tribute to some of them because some of them are even government workers. He has known many of them for quite some time, and they've known them to be very good people, very helpful to the community, despite having the differences in their religion. But they don't see that as an issue in terms of their community relations. So again, there's so much feeling of sadness, and there's an outpouring of sympathy also from the Muslim community for the families and those the loved ones that they were left behind by those who died in the blast here in Jolo.
All right, that was David Santos, our senior correspondent, who is in Jolo, Sulu. Twin blasts over the weekend right inside the cathedral there in Jolo. Malacanang saying President Duterte is angry and disappointed following the Jolo bombings, but stops short of blaming the military. Presidential spokesperson Sal Panelo blaming security lapses for the attacks. Panelo says the bombings should prompt officials to be more strict in securing Jolo. But Panelo clarifying that Malacanang is not disappointed with how the military is securing the town, specifically with how it is implementing martial law. Martial law, of course, was extended in Mindanao. Now, despite the bombings, Panelo says martial law in Mindanao has been effective at.
The fact alone that there is only one incident of bombing for the last, 1 year plus, that means martial law is effective. Can you imagine how many bombings there would have been if there was no martial law there?
As for clarification of this statement, Panelo said 1 or 2 bombings a month in Mindanao is, quote, little. The Catholic Church condemns the senseless attack in the Cathedral of Jolo. In a statement, the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines expressing its condolences to the families of the victims. CBCP also urging Catholics to join Muslims in promoting peace in Mindanao. Manila Archbishop Luis Antonio Cardinal Tagle says the Archdiocese stands in unity with those who died in the explosions, their families, and the community of Jolo. Tagle also called on all Filipinos to remain committed to peace. Pope Francis himself condemning the attack. In a tweet, the Pope called for prayers for the victims, saying, quote, "May the Lord, Prince of Peace, convert the hearts of the violent and grant the inhabitants of that region a peaceful coexistence," unquote. A security analyst tells CNN Philippines the attacks may have been carried out as an act of revenge. Romel Banlawi tells us about a certain local group that calls itself Ajang that may have been behind the bombings.
This group is composed of fathers and brothers of Abu Sayyaf group members who were killed by the military during law enforcement operations. They are called the soldiers of the martyrs. They have been martyred because of their battle against Christian government in Mindanao, and they have this high motivation to exact revenge for the killing of their relatives. This group is notorious for series of extortion activities in Sulu provinces, as well as kidnap or ransom activities. And this is the first time that this group has been identified to be involved in bombing attack of this magnitude.
We have on the line right now the regional director of the police, PNP regional director of the ARMM, Chief Superintendent Graciano Mijares. John Mijares, good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, Ma'am Pia, good afternoon, and good afternoon to everyone.
Sir, can we begin with this? I was asking David Santos earlier if there was any specific information, intel information, before this happened to warn us, to warn you, the authorities, that anything like this could happen.
Yes, as early as last year, we already had information. I think that was immediately after the attack in Basilan, that Sulu is also a target, including the Mount Carmel Cathedral. So, as part of our preparation, we have coordination with the Philippine Army to coordinate the area and have a lockdown, especially that place, Mount Carmel Cathedral and its vicinity. So the arrangement was members of the Philippine Army will be securing the inner circle, while the Philippine National Police will be outside. And the most outer ring will be also manned by PNP members who will be conducting checkpoints.
Okay. John Mijares, itong lockdown checkpoints, until when is this going to be? What does this mean? People will not be able to go in and out of Jolo as freely as they had before. Ganun ba?
Yes, tama yan, especially that area that you have mentioned, the vicinity of the Mount Carmel Church, and that up to the last minute during the explosion, I think this was done by our troops. As nakita nyo naman, nakaramihan ng, marami rin tayong victims na members ng Philippine Army. we have wounded from the Philippine National Police. So that only goes to show that they were really there. Except for siguro may lapses, baka hindi nag-conduct ng frisking or search, especially for these people who went inside the church during that particular day.
General Mijares, may sinasabi po ni Secretary Esperon about 6 people who could be behind the attack based on CCTV footage. Is there any information without giving away any valuable information? No? Do you have more on these 6 people or have you been able to bring down that number or, you know, meron na bang leads on these 6 people?
For the suspicious persons who are seen on the CCTV, I think there were 4 only. But then we have other 2 suspects that we are looking into. So, bale, anim yan. I think they already mentioned that they are members of the younger members of the Abu Sayyaf group, the Ajang.
So, General Mijares, you're saying 4 were seen acting suspiciously in the CCTV footage inside the cathedral, right outside the cathedral?
More or less, maybe 200 yards away from the cathedral.
Yung apat na yun. 200 yards away from the cathedral.
More or less, yes,
okay.
yes, that's correct.
Yung CCTV na yun, high definition camera, so kitang-kita yung mga mukha nila or hindi?
Not so clear, but then makikita mo na rin yung mukha nila. That's why they were identified.
Oh, identified already? So you have their names?
Identified as members of the Jajang.
Okay, so you have their names?
As of this time, we're still checking. We're still looking into it. Indeed, there. I think na-identified doon was only 1.
Oh, all right. Yeah? Can you share his name? Are you at liberty to do that? Huh?
We'll have it confirmed first.
Okay. So at least 1 has been identified of the 4 that were acting suspiciously, that were caught on CCTV 200 yards away from the cathedral.
More or less,
yeah. When you say acting suspiciously, what were they doing? Meron ba silang backpack? Were they looking at each other? Were they in a group together? Were they standing several feet apart?
They were running in a different direction, and at the same time, one of them passed something to
yung isang kasama.
It looks like a cell phone. Parang may pinasa doon sa kanya while they were running.
I see. Asking for directions from the town, from people in Jolo, ganun ba? On the street?
Yes. During the incident.
What were they asking for? Directions to the cathedral, ganon?
Pardon, Pia?
They were asking for directions to what? To the cathedral, sir?
They were running in a different direction during that incident. Most of those people who were running towards the cathedral right after the explosion.
Sila naman yung
tatlo ay papalayo.
Papalayo. Okay. And yung isa doon, sabi mo, you have the name and you are sure na itong 4 are members of this Ajang group.
Pia, these are all subject for further validation.
I see.
Further confirmation, although what we have is an alias only.
And you cannot share the alias yet?
For one of the suspects.
Hindi pa pwedeng i-share yung pangalan, yung alias na yon?
No, we can never be sure.
Alright.
Still have to check on that, Pia.
Okay, General Mijares, itong 2 suspects that you said, ano naman ng detalye dito?
Pardon, Pia?
Sabi nyo kasi 4 scenes sa CCTV plus 2 suspects.
Sandali,
Yeah.
Ano yan, Pia? Ano yan?
Yes, you said there were 2 other suspects because you said 4. Kasi earlier, sabi ni 6 suspects
there were
daw.
other 2 names that surfaced. Again, still trying to confirm that one. We're still checking on them.
Okay. Pero wala sila doon? They were in the vicinity of the cathedral or were not?
They were not around during the incident. They were not seen there.
I see. But so how would we make that connection between them and the bombings?
Hello?
How do we make the connection between these 2 other suspects and the bombings?
Hello?
All right, we're having a little bit of a difficulty getting a clear line to General Graciano Mijay Mijares. He's the regional director of the Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. He was just sharing with us that they have four suspects who were seen on CCTV footage some 200 yards away from the cathedral. Three of these suspects were running away from the cathedral after the incident, the explosions happened, and they were asking for directions from passers-by as people were running towards the cathedral. Silang tatlo papalayo ang takbo from the cathedral. Jan Mijares also saying one of these four has been identified. There is an alias. They have an alias of this one person, but he is not yet at liberty to divulge this alias. And there are two other suspects that they are looking at for a total of 6 suspects in these twin blasts in Jolo. The general also saying that at least one of them is identified as an Ajang member. Well, that's it for tonight. I'll see you again tomorrow for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pio Ontiveros. We leave you with the music of Filipino rock legend Joey Pepe Smith.
This is the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Tonight, new developments in the investigation of the deadly bombings in a Catholic church in Jolo, Sulu. Persons of interest have emerged. Hello and welcome. I'm Ruth Cabal. Thanks for joining us. We're learning more about the investigation into the deadly bombings in Jolo, Sulu. Authorities pointing at 6 people who could be behind the attack. National Security Advisor Hermogenes Esperon said they're looking at 2 groups and 6 persons of interest for the attack based on recovered closed-circuit television footage. He explained that they suspected the persons in the footage because of their suspicious movements after the bombs were set off. But in an interview on CNN Philippines Newsnight, the Autonomous Region and Muslim Mindanao Police Chief clarified only 4 of the 6 persons of interest were seen running after the explosions in the CCTV footage. The 2 others were not in the vicinity of the cathedral during the incident.
One of them passed something to
yung isang kasama.
It looks like a cell phone. Parang may pinasa doon sa kanya while they were running. I think they already mentioned that they are members of the younger members of the Abu Sayyaf group, the Ajang. We're still checking. We're still looking into it. Indeed, I think na-identify doon was only one.
Oh, all right. Yeah? Can you share his name? Are you at liberty to do that?
We'll have it confirmed. We'll have it confirmed first.
While authorities are investigating, an American organization, Site Intelligence Group, reports global terrorist group ISIS has claimed responsibility for what it calls a dual suicide bombing in Jolo. Security is tight in Jolo town following the bombings yesterday. Our senior correspondent David Santos joins us live. David, can you tell us the latest from there?
Well, Ruth, security forces are imposing a lockdown within the immediate vicinity of the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral, site of Sunday's powerful blasts that killed about 20 people. Now, roads leading to the church have been cordoned off from the public as investigators continue to scour through the rubble in search for clues on the specific kind of explosives used and who could have been behind it. The big question, however, remains: how did the perpetrators manage to slip past through the authorities and carry out the attack using very powerful explosives when security forces should be on alert for months now over what's supposed to be an impending threat against Jolo?
Parang lumalabas na nakisabay doon sa pagpapalitan ng, kasi it was between the first and the second mass, and doon medyo nagagulo doon ng kaya doon looks like doon nakapasok.
The President Duterte personally inspected the blast site on Monday. He looked around the cathedral to see for himself the massive impact of the twin explosions. The President then visited the wake of those who died in the incident, speaking to families and loved ones, offering condolences and government assistance. He also checked on the conditions of soldiers who were wounded while responding to the blasts. In a security briefing, the President reiterated his order for the AFP and the PNP to finish off the terror groups in the island, particularly the Abu Sayyaf.
Of course, ay inulit niya na talagang ubusin na itong ASG, no? Galit na galit siya, of course. Yung sympathy and his condolences in-extend niya sa mga pamilya ng mga namatay.
At least 18 people who were severely wounded in the blast have been airlifted to Zamboanga City so they can get better medical attention. Malacanang says no amount of terrorism can stop efforts to bring peace to Mindanao. The blasts at the Jolo Cathedral come just days after the referendum for the ratification of the Bangsamoro Organic Law. Ruth?
David, since Jolo is on lockdown, anong sense mo dun sa sentiments ng mga tao dyan? Medyo takot pa ba sila or nag-normalize na ba agad yung situation?
Let me just clarify, Ruth. No? When the authorities are saying a lockdown, siguro what they're specifically trying to say is that within just the vicinity of the Our Lady of Mount Carmel Cathedral. Kasi base sa mga nakita natin kanina, malaya pa rin. I mean, people can still move around. We still see people, a lot of residents outside of their homes, but not within the vicinity of the church. So kung sasabihin nating lockdown, medyo we just need to put that into context. Ibig sabihin, just within the immediate vicinity of the church, but all over Jolo, pwede pa naman gumalaw at pwede pa rin mag-ikot yung mga residente, Ruth.
Okay, David Santos there reporting. The international community quick to react and take action after the Jolo blasts. The United Kingdom warning its residents against traveling to Mindanao because of terrorist activity. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau condemning the attacks, calling them a despicable act of cowardice. Mr. Trudeau also sent condolences to the victims' families. The United States and Indonesia also denounced the blasts. U.S. Ambassador Sung Kim vowed his country would do everything possible to support the armed forces of the Philippines. The World Bank, headquartered in the U.S. capital, Washington, D.C., says it is ready to extend assistance to the Philippines through its existing partnerships for peace and development. Meanwhile, Pope Francis himself condemns the attack. In a tweet, the Pope called for prayers for the victims, saying, quote, "May the Lord, Prince of Peace, convert the hearts of the violent and grant the inhabitants of that region a peaceful coexistence." On the phone, we have Father Jefferson Nadua, Parish Rector of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Jolo, Sulu. Good evening, Father.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
Father, tanong lang namin, this is pang ilang beses na ba to? Kasi in the past there have been reports na nagkaroon na rin ng explosions dito sa cathedral. Ano po?
Apo, this is the first time na mayroong PED, but dati-dati may mga harassments, granada tinatapon sa loob. One of our, yung maintenance namin, binaril din sa loob. But this is the worst so far na nangyari.
Okay, Father, kasi sinasabi ng Malacanang they're looking into reports kung posible raw na konektado ito doon sa kakaratify pa lang na Bangsamoro Organic Law because kakatapos lang ng plebiscite. While Sulu voted against it, pero because the ARMM voted in general majority yes, ano? Do you think that could be related? Why would the church be the target?
I'm not in the position to make judgment about that right now. No? Siguro sa proper authorities na lang. What we're concerned about is yung ating mga parishioners at yung mga victims no, na nasa hospital ngayon at yung mga nakahimlay sa kanilang mga tahanan.
Okay, Father, kamustahin lang namin yung mga parishioners dahil nga ho marami yung nandun na yung sinasabi na regular churchgoers talaga yung ibang victims dyan, ano, sa pakikipag-usap nyo sa ibang survivors and families of the victims. Kamusta po yung mood dyan and overall dyan sa community?
Lungkot, tsaka very low moral yung aming parishioners. Some of them would want to leave the island, no? To go far. So, it has been the trend, no, sa mga parishioners namin dito when they are threatened. May mga extortion letters, may mga kidnap, nabanta sa kanilang buhay. All they could do is just leave the place. Just in a blink of an eye na magbabago yung kanilang buhay, yung kanilang future. Pag-aaralan ng buhay lahat.
Okay, Father, nung time po ba nung explosions, nasan po kayo?
I just left Jolo at that time. I just arrived in Zamboanga. Dapat attend kami ng installation ng dati naming bishop sa Jolo. Ngayon ay ma-assign sa Cotabato. So I was preparing for that event, no. And yun, yung si Father Ricky Bacolcol, yung diocesan priest namin na nagmimisa when it happened.
Okay, so kamusta naman po si Father?
He's okay, but he may trauma, may shock. And the worst thing is hindi ito yung first time niya, no, na to get bombed sa loob ng simbahan. 2011, he also experienced the same thing, no? But in our chapel, dito sa downtown lang din. Binomba din at siya din yung nasa misa at that time.
Oh, so sorry to hear that. Pero you mentioned may intimidation, may threats. Most recent po before this bombing, may natanggap po ba kayo, Father?
Before the bombing last year, perimeter have been set by the military to secure the place, especially the cathedral. The streets across the main entrance has been closed. Dahil sa mga intelligence report, and only the armed forces could answer that so far. But meron na mga threats, as to the threats, to the proper authorities na lang magsasabi kung ano yun. But may mga the threats are real, especially for us. That's why very careful kami at mahigpit yung ating security na mga measures na ginagawa doon sa paligid at sa loob ng cathedral.
Okay, thank you very much to Father Jefferson Naduas. Multiple investigations now underway following the twin blasts in Jolo Sulu yesterday. Authorities still gathering evidence to identify the suspects as the police are placed on heightened alert nationwide. Our Church Cahiles has that story.
Whatever is left of this cathedral will serve as a reminder of that horrific Sunday morning, when what was supposed to be a solemn mass was disrupted by twin blasts, killing at least 20 and injuring more than 100 people. Initial investigation reveals perpetrators could have used huge homemade bombs, since shrapnels were found up to 400 feet from the blast site.
Well, definitely, electronically detonated ito. Ang gamit nila is a GI sheet na parang pinanggagawa ng stainless steel. At parang talagang ginawa siya, hindi siya bote, hindi siya lata ng gatas. It's probably as big as a container of canister ng mga gatas na 2 kilos, something like that.
Mindanao is still under martial law. That's why investigators are trying to find how the bombs were sneaked inside the cathedral. For now, authorities have at least 6 possible culprits in mind.
Lumalabas po kasi grupo ng Abu Sayyaf. Yung nasa likod ng pambobomba kahapon, sir. Yung pangalan po ng grupo ay Adyang-Adyang. Tama ba?
Well, Adyang-Adyang means Adyang-Adyang. Ito yung mga anak ng mga dating Abu Sayyaf.
Yes, sir.
So, talagang probable silang suspects.
Can you tell us more about yung sa nakita po sa CCTV? Bakit ho sila ang posibleng tinitingnan na person of interest? Ano bang nakita?
One was identified as related to one of the commanders. So, bine-verify namin kung siya na ngayon.
Sinasabing suicide bombing, wala pa tayong ebidensya na talagang ito ay perpetrated by a suicide bomber. Although, sabi nga ni SIMG kanina, very unlikely na makapasok ka dyan na nakabag ka without being noticed.
Police order a nationwide heightened alert in the wake of the Jolo bombings, making sure that similar incidents will not happen elsewhere in the country. In the capital, Metro Manila, police even tightened the security a notch higher with a full alert status. This means all police personnel are on alert all day long, establishing checkpoints and deploying more personnel in vital areas.
We should not remain complacent, but instead, we need to be very vigilant in cooperation with the community.
Metro Manila Police Chief Guillermo Eleazar even checked train stations to make sure that security protocols are in place. But the police clarifies a spillover in Metro Manila is unlikely to happen. Still, they call for people's vigilance and cooperation. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
The National Bureau of Investigation conducting its own probe on the bombings in Jolo. Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara has directed the NBI to build up cases and file charges against those behind the attack. Guevara says he sent NBI operatives in Zamboanga to assist in the investigation. The Justice Chief describes the bombing as a mass murder and desecration of a place of worship. And that's the newsroom tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal. We leave you with the music of Filipino rock icon Joey Pepe Smith.